Today, we're diving into a really fascinating, high-stakes collision course. We're talking about the incredible power of future quantum computers versus the very foundation of Ethereum. So is the entire world of crypto heading for a kind of digital brick wall? Let's break it down and find out.
First off, let's just get a sense of this scale here. Back in 2021, the crypto market cap just exploded past $2 trillion. So, we're not talking about some niche little technology anymore. This is a massive piece of the global financial puzzle. And Ethereum, it's a huge slice of that pie.
So how in the world does Ethereum keep all of that value secure? Well, the best way to think about it is like a digital bank vault. The security is unbelievably strong, but it was built to fend off the kinds of threats we have today, not necessarily the ones that are coming tomorrow. At the very heart of this vault is something called public key cryptography. It's the bedrock of pretty much all cryptocurrencies, and it's all based on this super clever mathematical trick. You've got a secret private key. Think of it as the only key to your safe. And from that key, you can easily create a public key, which then makes the address people can send crypto to. The real magic is that for a normal computer, it's basically impossible to work backwards, to take that public address and figure out your secret private key. This whole process is like a one-way street. Your secret private key creates your public key, and that creates your address. With the computers we have now, the traffic only flows in one direction. You just can't start at the address and drive backwards to find out where the journey began with that secret key. And right here, this is the most important detail. Your public key, that piece of the puzzle that's just one step away from your secret, it isn't actually shown to anyone on the network until you send money out of your account for the very first time. Just hang on to that thought, because that right there, that's the chink in the armor. Which brings us to the villain of our story, the quantum computer. Now, this isn't just a souped-up, faster version of your laptop. No, this is a totally new way of computing that can solve problems that our classical computers would find literally impossible. And this is the fundamental difference, right? A classical computer is totally stuck on that one-way street, but a powerful quantum computer, it can basically just ignore the do not enter sign. It can turn right around and drive straight back up that street using the public key to find your secret private key. And the tool it would use is called Shor's algorithm. Now, this thing was actually designed way back in 1994, but you can think of it as a master key. If you have a quantum computer that's powerful enough to run it, you can just take someone's public key and bam, crack the code to find their private key. So this brings us right back to that crucial detail we talked about. An attacker needs your public key to even start the attack. As long as that key is hidden, you're fine. But the very moment you send your first transaction, you broadcast that key to the whole network. And all of a sudden, the vault door is totally visible to the quantum code breaker. Okay, so we've got this theoretical threat. It sounds pretty serious. But what does it actually mean for the real world? Like, if a quantum code breaker somehow appeared today, how much of the Ethereum network would actually be at risk? I mean, that's the real question, isn't it? What percentage of all the Ether out there is just sitting in accounts that have already revealed their public key? Is it a small fraction, or are we talking about something a lot more significant? Well, the answer is, honestly, it's pretty shocking. According to some deep analysis, a staggering 65% of all Ether is already in what we can call quantum-exposed addresses. That means the public keys for nearly 2/3 of the entire network's value are just out there, in the open, right now. So why is this number so high, especially compared to something like Bitcoin? Well, it really just comes down to the design. Ethereum uses what's called an account model. It's actually great for things like smart contracts, and it encourages you to reuse the same address over and over. But every time you do that, you're making sure your public key stays public. Now, if an attacker had the right machine, they could come at this in two ways. The first is a storage attack. This would target that 65% of funds just sitting there, exposed. It could be a slow burn, taking weeks or months. Or there's the transit attack, where an attacker tries to intercept a transaction the instant it's broadcast. That would require an incredibly fast quantum computer, though. Okay, this all sounds pretty alarming, I know. But it all really hinges on one massive question. When are quantum computers actually going to be powerful enough to do any of this? Is this a problem we need to worry about next year, or is this something for our grandkids? So let's be super clear. This is not a threat today. The machines we have now only have tens of qubits. That's the basic unit of quantum power. An attack like this would need millions. But the consensus among the experts is pretty clear. There's a very high chance this threat becomes real within the next 15 years.
So it's not immediate, but it is definitely on the horizon. And this quote really just nails the issue perfectly. The problem doesn't start the moment a powerful quantum computer gets switched on. The real problem starts when we realize we've run out of time to actually fix everything before that happens. It's a race against the clock.
So that raises the big question, right? What does winning that race even look like? How do you upgrade the absolute foundations of a multi-trillion-dollar network while it's still running? It's like trying to change the engine on an airplane mid-flight.
The solution, at least in theory, sounds pretty straightforward. You just switch out all the old cryptography for new algorithms that quantum computers can't break. Simple, right? Well, in practice, this is a monumental, almost unbelievably difficult task.
The challenges are just immense. First, you've got the technical problem. These new quantum-safe algorithms, they're bigger and slower, which could really hurt a network that's already obsessed with speed and scalability. But honestly, the bigger hurdle might be governance. Getting millions of users, developers, and miners all across a decentralized system to agree on one single path forward, that is incredibly hard, and it risks splitting the whole network apart.
Which leaves us with this final, critical question. It's truly a race between the builders and the breakers. Can this decentralized world move fast enough to patch its armor before a brand new kind of threat arrives to pierce right through it? The answer to that is going to define the entire future of digital finance.